ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I've had a bit of something that I've been keeping from you. And I don't know how to bring this up other than to tell you a story. So when I started, when I was born in a Russian family. Russian-Ukrainian family, we spoke Russian. So Russian, but I grew up in Australia, born in Australia, spoke Russian. Okay? So my first language that I learned was Russian. My family spoke Russian, my grandparents spoke Russian, fantastic. Then I went to kindergarten. In kindergarten, I struggled because I didn't know any English, everybody else knew English, I didn't know English. It was a legitimate struggle. It was a legitimate struggle for me to connect. So I would run around and I would scream out things like pizza when there was like pizza. I knew some words, but I didn't know many words, right? And that was me in kindergarten. Really simple. Now in kindergarten, a few things have happened. In kindergarten, thing number one happened was I tried to be friends with people. And I distinctly remember it was quite a transformative experience and something that as a child really kind of traumatized me and really put me into a pretty weird place of, how I got here. So I was remembering that I was always trying to play with the kids and the kids would never let me play with them because I didn't speak English. I'm guessing, a bit weird, right? I was trying to, but I couldn't speak English, so that's what I was. So finally one day they let me play with them and they were in a cubby house and they were like, come here to the cubby house. So I ran up to the cubby house during playtime, excuse me. And as I ran up to the cubby house, they closed the door, right? And I was like, let me in, or whatever I was screaming. I didn't know English, so I was like, let me in. And finally they opened the door, right? And I put my hand in, and as I put my hand in, then they took the cubby house door and they smashed it. And what that did is that broke my fingers. So I was yearning for human connection. I came up for the human connection. And I was teased instead and then hurt. Furthermore, for the next 2 to 3 months during playtime, I would be, because I was injured, sitting with my injured hand, I would have to sit outside just like this, so imagine that there's all the play area is there. I was sitting against a wall because that's where the teachers would put me with my broken fingers, and the same kids and all the kids would run around and they'd laugh at me. So as a traumatic event during kindergarten, my brain was taught that you don't belong and people are laughing at you. Like, people are laughing at you, you don't belong, you're separate from us. Really simple. Like, I'm saying this with not a lot of emotion now because, well, what else can I do, I guess? But that's a pretty sad experience to go through as a child. Why I say this isn't the main story. The main story is I was pulled out of kindergarten, and I was pulled out not for that reason, surprisingly, but I was pulled out because I got sick a few times. And my grandparents and my parents decided, well, I'm sick of you getting sick, and you get sick always from kindergarten. So what we're gonna do, Andrew, is we're actually going to remove you from kindergarten because what are you learning there anyway? We'll teach you at home. And I was learning at home, like I was very advanced in maths and very advanced in Russian, etc. And I was like, okay. So I got pulled out and I didn't even learn how to build friends there. Fantastic. Okay, I think. Cool. So then we start prep. We go to school. So obviously they're going to send me to school. So we start at school. And I remember the first day at school, I came in there and Mum's like, okay, goodbye. And I started crying because I was like, Mum, I don't understand what any of them are saying. So I'm in prep. I still know no English, zero English. And I grab onto my mum's leg. Please. And my mum literally drags her leg away and has to walk out of the room. and leave me there, crying. So here's me in prep as a child, not knowing any language, previously being ostracized from all human connection anyway. That's the reality of my life, my situation. Okay, that's the reality of it. Anyway, within a year and a half, my parents get pulled in to, I'm now in grade 1. So in Australia, we have prep and then grade 1. It's like a pre-grade and then grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, and it goes all the way to grade 12, right? So prep, don't know English, crying, right? Grade 1, parents get pulled in. Shit, parents get pulled in, we don't know what's going on. Parents get pulled into school, and my parents get told that your son is gifted. And they decide to have a serious conversation. They say, look, to be honest, our highest recommendation is that he skips a grade. So he skips the next grade because now he's better at everybody than English, better than everybody at maths, better at everything in every subject. Just, too smart. Can we have him skip a grade? So instead of going to grade 2, go straight to grade 3. My parents walk away and they go, man, that means for the rest of his life, he's going to be like that young child amongst all older children, and it's going to make him feel like he doesn't belong, etc. They're like, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to keep him in the same grade. We're going to keep him with the rest of the students. Lo and behold, grade 2, I did not much. In grade 2, they got pulled in to a meeting, and they're like, your son, he's like, he finishes the work like literally within seconds. And then what he does is, because he's bored, he just distracts all the other students. He goes under the table, ties their shoelaces and stuff, because he's bored. He's bored. He's just too intelligent. Cool. Moving along further, this is going somewhere, because this is really transformational, because this is something that really landed for me a couple of days ago. And it's probably going to make the biggest shift moving forward with this YouTube channel, with my life, with my identity, and it's given me some sort of clarity of who the fuck I am, sort of, a little bit, and who the fuck I'm not, basically. So, somewhere around the age of 15 to 17, I do a full IQ test, a full 5 to 6 hour IQ test. Now, IQ test is not the be end and end all of intelligence or anything like that, but it's a good sort of measure. You know me, that I believe we create constructs, and we create like, oh, well, if he's good at this, that must mean this. If he doesn't know English, that must mean this. If he takes drugs, it means he's this. If he doesn't take drugs, it means this. Correlation, as a human being, we create correlations between things which aren't necessarily true, right? So an IQ test is, a lot of people have said it's a good measure of intelligence. It doesn't really necessarily mean it. But regardless, on that IQ test, I believe the score, and I don't know the exacts, it was either one or this one. I got either 136 or 138. Now, what that means in an IQ test is I'm either 4 points or 2 points off 140. And 140 IQ means you're actually accepted into what's called Mensa. Mensa is a group of elite people, of the smartest people in the entire world. So it's an elite group of the most intelligent brains on the planet. So I was a couple of points off that. Now, at the time, no one told me that. I was like, oh, that's really high. I beat all my parents. I beat everybody. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. I'm kind of used to it, etc. So we've got that. Then on top of that, I've survived all my life experiences. I've done heaps of self-growth. I have done from spirituality to I've been an illusionist, meaning I've learned how to master human beings' attention. I've learned how to deceive human beings. I've done some pretty shady stuff. Then I learned morals, and then I don't do shady stuff anymore. But basically, my whole life is I've had this superpower brain. And I know if you've been on this channel, I've talked about ADHD, I've talked about all this, and then I'm like, well, I've researched and I don't have ADHD. I've talked about this and I don't have that. So what it actually is for me is, it's important for me to tell you this story. I want it to come from an ego place, and I don't really want it to be that. I really have to accept and know for myself that in reality, hang on, excuse me. Hello? Okay, sorry, the mic died. In reality, I am very intelligent. I'm very intelligent, and then I've built a lot of other skills which are very unique, which even a person that doesn't have high capabilities makes a world of a difference. So I'm a master neuro-linguistic programming expert, NLP master practitioner. So I understand with words, we can program beliefs in our systems. I've taken over 1,000 lucid trips, so psychedelics, right? And a lot of people say psychedelics give you access to stuff. And look, that may be the case or may not be the case. Obviously, with my brain, I've analyzed all of it, and substances are an insight into what you can have, but it's not the answer to things, right? Where most people fall down the answer of this is the answer, this is the, well, no, not really. So what I'm trying to say is I've also, on top of my Ferrari brain, I've put Ferrari fuel into it that has created this uniquely shaped brain. And I've always been really interested in harnessing that and making it better and better and better and better. So here's me, in the current, in the right now, freaking out and mentally feeling like not okay. And that's why I've always felt that I can reach the top, and anything that I've ever set my mind to, I always achieve at the highest level, relatively quickly. I'm kind of a bit slow on the start. It's interesting, my brain slowly in the start, it like figures out things in kind of a weird way. Like for the first 10%, I'm slower than anybody else, kind of. And then something like it positions in my head, and then I get it, and then I go zoom, immediately to the top. So that's kind of how my life has gone. So when I say I'm going to reach the stadium, I know I'm capable of reaching the stadium. Yeah, I don't know how to, I didn't know how to sing, I didn't know how to write music, I didn't know how to do this, but it's also something that like my heart is calling for. It's not necessarily just another goal that I'm going for. This is spiritually, like, it's what makes me the happiest. So I am here with an intelligent brain, however deeply yearning to be accepted by human beings, because as a young child, I was rejected, I was spat out, I was laughed at, I was different. And that difference is I could never put a finger on it, I could never put a pulse on it. Why do when I say things, people are like, no, oh my God, you can't say that, you can't, but it's factual. But it's factual. Like, I know it's factual and you can't argue with it. And then I look back at who do I actually connect with? Well, I do connect with intelligent people. So if I look at all my ex-partners, I haven't fallen in love with physiques. I haven't fallen in love with careers. I haven't fallen in love with tits, lips, sex. I've fallen in love with brains. And I've had to not get into some relationships because they were not smart. And I always felt weird saying that. I was like, they're just not that smart. But obviously I wouldn't say it like that. I would be like, oh, well, I don't know. We're just like, they're a simple person, or they just want simple things. What I didn't realize is, and what I have to come to terms with is, I am extremely capable, for whatever reason. My brain was put like this, and nobody else has this Ferrari brain. Now, we can say that about anything. We can say that your brain is very unique to somebody else's brain, to somebody else's brain, to somebody else's brain. And I'm sure it is. And I'm sure your journey is to find out what is uniquely beautiful about your brain and triple down on that. But for me, I then go out and I go into this world and like want human connection, and then I play nice with people and I'm like, oh, they're just not my person. What I'm actually saying is they're not my person. Their brain is not smart enough for me. Profound. Very, 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 very profound. And it's scary for me to admit this or to talk about it like this, because I've been sitting on this for a couple of days, because I'm really scared for it to enter this ego place, to be like, I'm smarter than everybody. But what if I am? Like, put yourself in my position. Like, all the data points to I am smarter than anybody I've met. I do things my own way. I make my own rules. I make my own games, and then I win at those games. And if anybody wants me to play their game, I win their games, break all their records, and just break brains. What if I am? Like, put yourself in my position. What if I have to confront that I am extremely intelligent? And to put on that is I can feel people really deeply. So people will call it empath or whatever. Is like, I can feel that. I'm sitting right now, I know exactly what's going on for my mum, how she's feeling. I know the stress, and I'm holding the stress of what my sister's feeling. I'm holding the stress of what my friend is with her child, but she's now a single mother and she's yearning the loss of that relationship. I'm sitting here and feeling all of their things, and I can't call them and be like, how are you, how are you, how are you? Because I'm going to be just a crazy person. And I'm yearning for somebody to be that for me. And I've been like, is everyone just a shit human? Well, they're probably just not capable. And that's like, it's a two. That makes me feel a couple of things. It makes me feel extremely lonely. Holy shit. I was hoping there was going to be one day that I'm going to connect. And there's a good chance that we ain't going to connect. Like, I ain't going to connect. However, I have built friends and built relationships which are based on brains that I respect. And what I find is I can probably have relationships where their brain might be super intelligent, but it might be skillful in something that I don't or haven't harnessed or mastered the skill in, so I enjoy that. I have one girlfriend which I used to see, I enjoy how deeply she feels with her heart. I enjoy that. We connect with that. Brain-wise, on the intellectual side, definite mismatch. I enjoy another ex, which is she is kind of a bit more autistic, and she's very much order and process driven. Not a feeler at all. I enjoy that because I can be disorganized because my brain is so capable. Everything looks like an opportunity for me. Everything. YouTube's an opportunity. This is an opportunity. I can take anything and bring it straight to the moon. So I enjoy that. With the previous ex, her brain was so special to me. We think it had ADHD mixed with autism, and potentially we think with narcissism and heaps of trauma. But she was artistic. She could draw. She saw the world in a way which I liked how she saw the world. Like poetry, I fell in love with the lens of glasses that she saw the world through. It had nothing to do with her appearance. It had nothing to do with our sex life. It had nothing to do with what she said to me, I fell in love with her brain, her mind. And I used to say, I was like, and you've probably heard me on the videos saying that I've met my match. I've met my mental match. Our brains were fast. It almost felt like we were similar. Like it was like our brains could fire at the same time. It was beautiful. And she did get, unless she lied to me, so we don't know, but she did get offers for high universities like Oxford and stuff, scholarships, etc. So she related to a lot of the things that I did as well. And it's sad to think about. But, so there are people out there, but I am spending time opening up all my boundaries to everybody and talk to everybody. And they're not necessarily my people intellectually wise. So therefore, I need to be really careful, and I need to honor that they're probably not my people. But more so, I can't get upset that they don't understand me, or it's a bad comment or negative or something towards me when their brain's just not that capable. And it's like, there's a lot of habits that you can do that can make your brain highly capable. You can read a bunch of books, you can enhance your level of intellectuality, you can train your brain, and there's also stuff that you can't do. So, maybe most people can't do substances like I do. Maybe most people can't run businesses like I do. Maybe most people can't do things at the way that I do them. And it's kind of like a little bittersweet because there's a disconnect going on. I sit here and I go, I want to help everybody because I don't value myself, so I think anything that I can achieve, everybody can achieve. But I'm not taking into account that my hardwiring, that I have premium hardwiring. Like I've got the Pro Max limited edition hardwiring. And then I'm like, nah, you can do it. And so many people do try and emulate, and I try and help them to do what I do, think like I do, but their hardwiring isn't there, and then they get really upset when they don't achieve that, but their hardwiring is not there, so really I'm leading them down a wrong path as well. So I've been sitting on that, and I'm really careful. No one wants to go, like, I know that if I go, hey, sorry, I'm just smarter than everybody. That's pretty, that's people aren't gonna like that. You're not gonna wanna know that you're dumb and I'm smarter than you. You're not gonna wanna know that. You do not wanna know that. I don't mind. If somebody goes, I'm more self-expressed than you, I'm like, yeah, you are. How do I learn that? How do I get more of that? If somebody goes, I'm this compared to you, awesome, yeah, I can see that. How do I get that? That's how my brain works. So I'm sitting with that. I don't know what to do with that, but that is a little bit about me, and that's a little bit of what I'm going through right now. And I don't know where this all ends up, but it's here. I can't resist it. So we're going to have to sort of work with it. Like, okay, what do I now do with this? What do I do with all of this information now? Because we got to do something now. We got to do something with all this information. And I think what's happening for me right now is that I'm beginning to be okay with, like, you just wouldn't get it. You just wouldn't get it. And because I'm quite smart, I can tell if your brain doesn't fire well. Do you know what I mean? Like, you've heard me say that I can tell if you even have 1 or 2 drinks a week. I can tell how your brain works. I've seen the pattern. I see patterns where people don't see patterns. People don't see patterns. People don't see it. And it also means that I expect for you just to understand me instead of being like, right, I need to take all of this intellectual knowledge and not just assume that you're going to understand it, but actually break it down into something more simpler and more manageable for you or for anybody else to understand it, to be able to help you get to where you need to be, or to be able to help you get the information that I know into more bite-sized pieces for you. So that's where I'm sitting. It's good and it's bad, and it's good and it's scary, because I haven't ever seen myself as, oh, that's what it is. So there's a freedom in that, and there's also like, shit, I might be lonely for forever. Okay, so I guess I'm just gonna go do my stuff now. Kind of. That's all I can do, right? Anyway, hope that was useful. Bit about me. Hope you're having a good day. Much love. I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.